All right, this weekend, the UFC takes us to Nashville, Tennessee. Yeehaw! Now, this card might not be full of household names, but it's got some really great matchups here, and is definitely one that rewards the hardcores that watch every single fight card. Let's get into this right now. Right, the first one is taking place at flyweight and has some potential if you want to bet low risk and get a higher reward. I think Almabayev is a textbook can crusher, and I think he's going to struggle here against Osbourne. I really like the plus 2.5 on this. What really concerns me about this fight in particular is Asu does not look very good on the feet. Osbourne's going to have the reach advantage. He trains with Marab, who I really regret calling a goblin, by the way. I just think that this is going to be a lot closer than people are expecting. People have a tendency to just pick people with EV or OV in their names, but I don't think this guy's that good. He's 29 years old. He's coming into the UFC now. It's a bit late. Osbourne's fought good guys. I can see him getting a very narrow split win, but I like the plus 2.5 on this. I'm not sure if this one is official, but I'm going to touch on it a little bit. Butler just got flatlined by Jim Miller, which he also took on short notice. And if this one does happen, it's gonna be another like lamb to slaughter situation. I feel bad for the guy, and I like his mustache, but if this happens, Woodson's gonna just violate him. All right, a lot of people are picking Durden. I am not. Whenever I look at a fight like this, I think, where are the largest disparities? And failing that, I ask myself, who is the more annoying cunt? Durden is the better wrestler and Jake is the better striker. For me though, the striking and power disparity is way larger for Hadley. Hadley has KO power at flyweight and can actually fuck about on the ground. He's powerful, he's strong. Durden is good, but he's taken this on short notice and is still booked to fight in 6 weeks or whenever it is. I think taking this fight was a mistake. I think Hadley is more well-rounded anyway, and the fact he's taking this with a full camp, yeah, fuck that. I think he's going to catch Durden and put him out. I'm British, so I'm also biased. And I also think Durden is a total douche. Moving on. It's a tough one. I'm going to take Silly Billy, though. Again, it's a disparity thing. Both men are coming off brutal KOs, but I think Billy's was more forgivable, and he looked decent before he got clipped, and it was against Edson. Damon Jackson did flatline Sabatini a few fights ago, but that felt like an anomaly. Usually his striking is a little more goofy, and I think Billy's going to have the speed advantage. There is a chance that Jackson grabs him, wet blankets him, but I think Billy's fairly competent on the ground and should be able to work his way up if it does happen. Fights are not finishes of shout as well, but I think Billy's going to catch him at some point and put him out. Nice matchup. I'm going to go with Billy. Yeah, I like this matchup as well. Pretty hard one to pick. Harris is actually very underrated for me, and his output and distance control is very decent. His last performance did concern me though. I picked him against, I think it was a bald dude. I think it was Jared Gordon, if I'm right, I'm not sure. And I thought he would absolutely smash him. He made it harder than it should have been. Wells is coming off a win against Semmelsberger, which could have gone either way. This comes down to if you trust the power of Wells to find his moment, or a volume guy like Harris. And I honestly think that a flash sneaky one on the plus 1.5 here is actually the one to play. The bookies are convinced that someone's going to get sparked in the first round, and I don't think this is going to happen. I think if you're adding a parlay player to go over the distance, the line is the one. So the distance line is the one. Gun to my head, I might actually go with my gut and say that Harris might edge it and avoid getting headshot. Alright, I'm going with the bearded lady, Kyla Phillips, in this one. He trains with O'Malley, he's probably on the sauce, he beat Song Yadong, and is a fucking elite striker that can go on the ground and fuck about as well. Barcelos is older, slower, and while he genuinely isn't a bad fighter, he's coming off getting flatlined against Umar really badly, and against a varied and hard-hitting striker like Kyla, I think he's going to get caught and finished again. The only potential issue here is, was Phillips really sourcing? Did it make him more powerful? Is he off it now? The spotlight is on him, and will this affect him? Despite the whole smoke and fire thing and all that, I'm going to go with the intangibles that we are sure of and pick the outright better fighter. I'm going to call Phillips by a highlight KO. Yeah, I think Klein is shit. Bahamondes has the reach advantage, has brutal power, and I see another horrendously horrible highlight finish in this one. Klein should have lost to Herbert, and I think he's so goddamn overrated it's almost painful. I seem to develop vendettas against certain people who I cite as frauds, and I think he's finally going to get clearly fraud put out here. I also don't like the fact that Klein is going up a weight class either. I think he's going to get fucking cracked. Fight not to go the distance, and I love Bahamondes to do it brutally. Yeah, Boser has no chin, and I'm done losing money on this redneck. Now, in his defense, he looked like he really put the work in to get down to light heavyweight, but that makes it all the more tragic. I just think his chin has been smashed in far too many times now, and I can't pick a guy that can get wallop KO'd at any second. Camur has a limited record, but is far less war damaged, comes from a decent gym, and has had very close fights against good competition. The plus 1.5 is a tasty one if Boser can avoid getting cracked in the first round. I just think he can't seem to help himself getting into a war or a firefight, and I just don't trust him to not get chinned. I'm also picking Camur because I think he's a live dog, and Boser has no right being a favorite against anyone decent. Oh man, I love Diego Lopes's debut against Evloev. He showed tremendous heart, showed he could crack, and was a genuine threat on the ground. He almost had Evloev fucked multiple times, who I also think is a little bit overrated. I thought Lopes won that fight, and while Tucker is a very good wrestler and has decent power, I don't love the inactivity. I'm also going to use some basic logic here. Lopes has the reach and the height, so will have advantages at distance striking. Tucker has the wrestling and takedown advantage, but seeing how dangerous Lopes is on the ground, I'm wondering does Tucker really want to even fuck around with him there? Lopes has more avenues, so I'm picking him. Love that performance against Evloev, and really just want to see him get a big win here. I do like Kennedy Nzechukwu, and Dustin has killed me on the last leg of parlays twice in a row now, so I genuinely hate the cunt. One of them was a robbery. Stylistically though, I hate to say it, and I won't be betting on this, but I actually think Jocoby might have the distance striking and the kickboxing experience to get this done. I like this to go the distance, and I just think Kennedy seems to do better in fights where he has the range and can plant knees up the middle in the clinch and work against the cage. I think Jocoby makes this a distance kickboxing fight where he will have the advantage. I'm going volume decision for Jocoby, and if he loses another one that he should stylistically win, I want to see his gloves on the fucking ground at the end of the fight. Don't let me down, you prick. Alright, I don't really love Suarez at strawweight, but I think she's more suited to flyweight. And I don't know, assuming if the weight cut goes well, this could be some brutal shit. Andrade knows she's not getting to a belt again, and I just think she's raking up fights and taking risks just to get paid as much as possible, taking as many fights as she can. I think she's going to get dumped on the ground and fucked, and given her sexual preferences, I think she might actually enjoy it. So win-win for her, I guess. Andrade's biggest threat is to catch a massive shot, and Suarez has a decent chin for a woman. If Suarez can smother Esparza on the ground, imagine what she can do to Andrade. This is going to be easy. Alright, first, let me say this. I love Rob Font. He had some really tough losses, but is a skilled motherfucker that might be the least talked about and underrated in the whole division. I just think Corey is a monster that looks better every fight. He might be a top 5 striker in the entire UFC, and the fact he's getting more and more competent in his ground game as well is a worry for the whole division. He's one guy I think is going to fight for a belt again, and may be a shock to eventually grab it. The fact this is at catchweight as well kind of seals this to me. Corey is a massive bantamweight, and not having to cut I think is going to be insanely advantageous for him. Short notice for Font as well, who I do think is a savage and a very talented guy. I think we're going to see a late stoppage in the 4th, or a clear UD for Corey. Font is tough as nails, and this is a great fight. Thank you very much, Rob Font, for taking it. You're an absolute savage. Alright, record this year is 297. Win percentage is 67%. The card takes place on Saturday night, so I will be covering it and reacting to it. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll catch you then. Short but sweet, just the way I like it.